I sat there and I said, well, Daryl, because we were comparing, obviously this is what you do. You compare what you have versus what could be coming out in the draft versus what could be available in free agency, depending on your resources. And so the obvious comparisons, and now the Browns might have played their way out of having a chance to just go up and grab one of the top 2 quarterbacks. They would have to, juice the pot, and that might not be enough now. Today, season ended today, they'd be drafting 6th. They could even fall down to 7 with a win over Cincinnati.
That's as far as they can go, because I was one. Okay.
They could also move up to 2, but they would need 1,000 things to go their way, which probably won't. And, of course, it involves beating Joe Burrow, who looked amazing yesterday, but he has struggled against the Browns, certainly in some games. So I said, well, wait a second. Quarterback of Indiana, Mendoza, is got the height attributes, right?
Yeah.
Little on the leaner side, but you imagine, just like all the guys, same thing, Shedeur. Shedeur was very lean. Coming out, you imagine they'll gain some muscle and gain some weight. Arm certainly looks good enough. It's not cannon arm, but it's certainly good enough. He has mobility. He can take off and run. Go look at some of his long runs. Mm-hmm. He's very fleet of foot, Mendoza. He joins Indiana, which was good last year. Clearly, the next year, he took them to another level. Like, they had no shot to beat good teams last year with the OU quarterback, Rourke. Get the Rourkes mixed up. There were 2 of them.
There was Curtis
brothers.
and I think Nathan.
Yeah, they had Curtis. And clearly, he's been the difference. Like, he's taken them to another level to the point where they beat Ohio State. Now they're number 1.
Plumlee of quarterbacks.
Yes, and they're ranked number 1, and they have a chance to go undefeated and win the national championship. He already won the Heisman. And Daryl's like, well, what's the track record of Heisman Trophy winners? Which is a good point, except for Caleb Williams just won the Heisman and is looking unbelievable.
But if you're going track record,
but I listed
probably
all those
more
things.
On Daryl's side.
But I listed all those things.
So this is
so you're telling me if Mendoza goes on and wins the national championship, he's not going to be in the maybe not Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence category, but he's going to be pretty damn high up. People are going to be like, that's the easiest number 1 card turn-in ever.
If they had the number 1 or number 2 overall pick, I would tell everybody, I go, wait a minute, are you just afraid to take a QB? Because you can't just sit there and argue about how they need everything else. You need to tell me why you believe in Shadore for 2026. That's what you need to say. It's not about, well, we know they need all this. They're drafting at the top of the draft. Every team at the top of the draft needs a bunch. It's, do you believe in Shedeur? But now they're drafting 6th. And depending on what happens next Sunday, they could be drafting 7th. And if they're drafting there, I don't think I'm willing to give up all that to just go to number 2 to get Dante Moore. I'm not that high on Dante Moore. I'm really not, guys. There's something... And even though the conversation has started to turn into, he could be really QB1, I go, yeah, I think there's a lot of things that because we're in a 24-hour sports cycle now, I think there's a lot of things we're saying things to say him. And just wondering when we there's and I'm guilty of it too. There's always those things. You just got to ask: is he really the QB1? And it makes me go, nah. But I don't want to talk myself out of quarterbacks every single year. But I'm gonna tell you,
which is what it sounds like. I think people are doing.
And I agree with you. If we were still drafting number 2, but if we're 6 or 7, and you think about what you have to give up to get that guy. I got to be damn sure I think that guy, or in my heart of hearts, is as strong as I've ever felt about that guy. But I'll tell you this. Like, if you're drafting 6 or 7, I'll turn my card in over again for Shedeur to be the starting quarterback in 2026. Mac Jones, let's have that conversation, all right? But if you give me any, and I told you this before, but anybody who's just clicking in, if we're doing this, somebody put out Kyler Murray before Christmas. I almost threw up all over my phone. Somebody put out Tua Tagovailoa before Christmas. I almost slammed my head in a dumpster.
I would take Shedeur over those, with all things considered.
I would take Shedeur over them.
I'm not saying he's going to have a better career.
Let me tell you this.
Hold on. I'm not saying he's going to have a better career than those guys.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to tell you this, though.
I right now, at this stage of their careers and where he is and on his contract, I would take him.
And I guess I'm going to be a major league bastard about this next spring or next or summer/fall. Because if you want to bring Deshaun Watson back, go ahead. You're paying him $46 million, whether you like it or not. It ain't no competition to me. Shadore's your starter. I'm not falling for that ever again. I tried to meet you halfway on the Deshaun Watson stuff. He's broken physically. How many injuries has he had? He didn't want to be here. I don't care. I don't care about any sort of redemption story. If he does, fine. Stick it in my ear. Shedeur, if it comes down to Shedeur or Deshaun Watson, not that Deshaun hasn't been a nice teammate and all that other stuff that we like to say now. It's Shadore's team. I'm not wasting my time with anything else. Bailey Zappi or...
I think everybody agrees with you. You're not really arguing with anybody.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I'm not having my time wasted.
If it were...
We're not doing this because I know but I'm saying this, you know what's going to happen. Oh, he's looked really good in practice, and, they're still paying him all that money, and, at one point, he was an MVP-style player in this league. No, we're not doing that.
No, if it were him from 5 years ago, it'd be a no-brainer.
Of course, but you wouldn't have that conversation. You wouldn't have taken Shedeur in the 5th round had it been 5 years ago. So maybe I'm not sticking it over the fence the way I thought I was, but I just know how this conversation's going to go, and you guys mark my words, he'll be on the team going into next year, and you will hear how good he is in camp from certain people as we get ready for next year, and I'm not falling for it again. We're not doing that again. It's Shedeur, not Dylan Gabriel, not Bailey Zappi, certainly not Deshaun Watson. If it comes down to those guys, it's Shedeur. If it's Tua Tagovailoa or Kyler Murray, I shun what's going to happen in 2026.
Yeah, but what if it's Malik Willis? What if it's Mac Jones? Is it a competition? Or are you just not bringing them in because you don't even want to deal with it?
Not Malik Willis. Maybe Mac Jones. Mac Jones, I think Malik Willis is Malik Willis.
Which is what?
Middle of the road guy. Mac Jones, I think he has some talent. I think he was set off by a bad game plan from a person who can no longer be a great judge of talent in the NFL.
I mean, Malik Willis has started 6 games. He's 26 years old, was a third-round pick, and has definitely flashed.
Malik Willis,
right? He's flashed in the same way Shedeur has flashed.
I understand that, but Malik Willis also has offensive coaches that coach offense. They didn't take their defensive coordinator and make him the offensive coordinator, and they expect that to be successful. And plus, I will say, the price you could end up giving up for Mac Jones might be against Shedeur. So that's why definitely I'll have the conversation about Mac Jones. And there might be a couple of others. Maybe some are not realistic, but no, if we're going to do the whole Deshaun Shedeur thing, no, it's Shedeur. And then I would say in 9 out of 10 cases, outside of the draft, outside of anything crazy happening in the draft, it's Shedeur. It's him. Because I know some people are making the joke about like, oh, wow, he's not unplayable. Well, you really set a high bar around here. No, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this right. I got time. Maybe Andrew Berry doesn't, which is scaring me about next year. Maybe Kevin Stefanski only has until the end of this week, but I just want to get it right. So if he's playing better and better and better, maybe I want to give him a little bit more time and see what he can do instead of forcing it from 6th or 7th to the number 1 or number 2 overall pick and taking even more away from what I have. Because I think that they're both can be. I think Fernando Mendoza is going to be a really good quarterback. Do I think he's going to be worth what you have to give up? Not there yet.
Well, if he's really good, he's worth it every time.
I should say I think he's going to be a good quarterback.
Really good quarterbacks,
I don't know about really.
They make up for how bad an offensive line is, how bad the receivers are. I mean, look at Drake May this year.
Real Xavier P. asked me about Zach Zinter, asked us about Zach. You know what? I'm watching, because I told you I'm like, what are we doing with now? Wyatt got hurt again? Are you saying Wyatt got hurt again yesterday?
Supposedly, yeah. Okay. He was rotating again, and then...
So, from what I'm seeing, and again, I'm up there in the 537. I'm BS, and so it wasn't like I have eagle eyes on things there. I got to tell you, I'm watching in the L22 here. He's doing a fair job. I think he's doing a fair job. And I was told he was unplayable earlier this year, to the point, obviously, they weren't even dressing him. So, but, okay. Well, we'll see. Maybe that's one where the lights will come on for Andrew Berry.
That would be nice because they need to fill 5 potential holes here, no matter whether it's Shedeur or anybody.
Sounds like it's a lot. Get the latest from Browns practice throughout the week right now on our YouTube channel. Daryl Ryder recaps each and every practice and game while featuring the best highlights from coaches and players during media availability as well as on the field. Subscribe now, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube Live and YouTube Now, and get all the latest from Daryl Ryder on the Browns throughout the entire football season. They got 1 to go during the regular season. Browns won yesterday. This is crazy. I'm starting to get a lot of pushback on Shedeur. Like, Kenny, you can't be thinking about 2026. I'm like, how could I not be thinking about 2026 after yesterday? And it's not based on just beating the Steelers. Like, yes, I was excited about beating the Steelers. I'm an excitable boy. But now that you're in the 6th spot, or possibly even if you beat, like, the Bengals now are a possibility. If you beat the Bengals next week, you're the 7th spot. I'm going to trade all this up for what? Who's number 1? The Raiders? Raiders ain't giving up number 1. Raiders ain't giving up number 1 for nothing. So that's a non-starter.
That's a team that understood the assignment about losing at the end of the year.
Yes. They ain't giving up. So you're basically looking at trying to go after.
Their offensive line was as bad as ours, if not worse.
Terrible. But did you see the Mason Crosby video?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do people know about the Mason Crosby video? So they put him on IR and then announced he's probably going to need knee surgery, and Mason Crosby decided to post a video of himself playing basketball with his kids. So we got that going on in the NFL. That's going to be an interesting week. I'm just looking at what the prices are. Am I willing to do all this and move up for the second pick? If the Vegas Raiders were open for business, let's talk. But I got to come up from 6 or possibly 7 to go to Vegas. It's not going to happen. Vegas ain't getting out of that spot. So I got to go from 6 to possibly 7 to get up to number 2. Even though you just told me, and you're right, I may need to replace 5 positions on my offensive line next year. That's just on the offensive line. We haven't started to talk about wide receiver yet. Now, it can't all be addressed in one offseason. So Shedeur or anybody is going to have to deal with not a full offensive line, 2/5 at times an offensive line, which ain't going to be a lot of fun. So Shedeur might have to deal with it. Everybody might have to deal with it. But it's like, well, wait a minute here. Let's see if there's gold here before I go looking for it elsewhere. Now, I don't want to just get excited about the 2027 draft class and go, well, there's so many more guys. Hey, we thought there were going to be a bunch of guys this year.
We thought that was this year.
And there wasn't a bunch of guys this year. But you can't switch up some of the things you've been thinking about because they won. And I didn't think they were going to win yesterday. I didn't know a lot of Browns fans who did think they were going to win yesterday. And now if they might win next week, because if you're able to win this game, well, maybe you can win against the Cincinnati Bengals. That just makes the price more prohibitive. And I don't think I really want to make that investment right now, but I'm not willing to rule it all out. I want to see more Dante Moore. Maybe I'm going to be singing a different tune by the end of next month. But damn, man, I see that. I think it's a lot. I saw Shedeur. I'm not one, guys, I like Shedeur. I'm not one of the guys who's going to sit here and make every single possible excuse possible for him. And I made a few. I have made a few.
Yeah, like we're done. We're probably done talking about reps, right? Like he's been the starter now for over a month and a half.
We're done with that. I think that he can get better for a full offseason with reps. I think he can do that. But I mean, let's be serious here. I think that there's something you can work with. And so when you say, well, he's not unplayable and people laugh. Yeah, man. I thought going from no reps to jokes about him throwing the ball boys, I thought it was going to be a disaster. I really did.
I don't
have much faith in the coaching staff, to be honest with you, at least on offense. I didn't have much faith in the lack of any experience whatsoever. I really thought that this was going to be a disaster, and I thought he's grown week by week. I did get eyes on the interception that he ended up throwing to Kyle Duggar. It was terrible. He admitted that. Fine. He's had 2 really, really bad picks in the last 4 weeks.
Oh, and he had a pick 6 that probably would have lost him the game. Right?
I understand.
They definitely would have lost if Herbig holds onto that ball.
I understand that too, yes. But you got a rookie. Rookies are going to throw picks. We're going to have a little bit.
He's just thrown the most of them.
If you're going to make this investment, you're going to have patience going into next year. Or are you willing to guarantee 2026 patience? Because I am. Because maybe it wasn't tough talking as I thought it was going to be. It's just like, I'm not doing this stupid stuff with the guys we already have in this quarterback room and saying that that's a competition. It's not. They'll call it a competition. It's Shedeur. That's what I meant by that. I'm not trying to be tough talking Kenny over here. Just let's not insult each other's intelligence and emotions again and do this Deshaun Watson crap all over again. No, give me Shedeur and let me see what he's got. And if Deshaun Watson wants to be a good teammate and be his backup, so be it. 216-474-0092. If you disagree, fine, let me have it.
I just don't think there's any way you could look at his body of work, which is, becoming more substantial. It's still not going to be the full season evaluation or any of that. But if you compare him to Tyler Shough, like Shough has been way, way better. If you even look at Cam Ward over the last 5 weeks, he's number 1 overall pick, so you'd hope that he would look better. Mm-hmm. But he's been way better, too. I think he's got 9 touchdowns, 1 interception in that run. Shedeur's mistakes are the hard part because it's one thing to just dismiss the mistakes as rookie mistakes, but as we know, Jameis Winston never got rid of those mistakes. Baker, he's still throwing the same interceptions now that he threw in year 2 when he was struggling. We always assume that quarterbacks are going to get better year to year. We also know that C.J. Stroud's second year, way worse than his first. Jordan Love's second year, way worse than his first. Jaden Daniels' second year, way worse than the first. So I do think we can get caught up in assuming that there's going to be this linear year-to-year development, and Shedeur 3 years from now is going to be way better than he is now. We have so many countless examples where that isn't the case. So my question is, if you're doing the evaluations on him, he's committing a lot of the same mistakes he made in Colorado, which led to him slipping in the draft. How do you know, how much are you willing to gamble on that? Now, look, they're not going to have the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. They had a chance. Then you would have been comparing. How do you know that compared with someone who could go number 1 or number 2? But now you're comparing him to, the eligible free agents, the eligible veterans.
I'm also, and boy, we're gonna go in the weeds here for a second, because now I'm gambling with the other picks that I have, the 27th overall pick, right? Say I don't make a move and I go with Shedeur. I got to be able to hit on my number 6 overall pick, and I got to be able to hit on 27. I got to be able to try to hit on my second round pick, and then it just becomes more and more unlikely. Like this was a credit where it's due, because you're going to probably hold on to the guy, so I got to give some sunny disposition here. This last year was a good draft, so you're probably going to hold on to Andrew Berry, right? Right.
I don't know.
Well, it seems that they are. So if they're going to hold on to Andrew Berry, I got to give some sort of credit there. And I've been willing to say that, yeah, certainly, I think everybody's willing to say it was a good draft in 2025. Now you have to hit on that stuff that much more. Because if I'm giving that up, I'm going to be missing all those other players with a Dante Moore. And if I'm missing all those other players, then I'm right back having the same conversations that I'm having about Shedeur Sanders right now. You'd rather have those guys, get those guys there, not have to make such a desperate trade up, and then let Shedeur Sanders have the wheel for this year. Knowing that if you do move on from Kevin Stefanski and we are right back here as a 5-win team next year and things don't go that well, you will hold the feet to the fire of Shedeur. That'll be a done deal. And then we're already going to have a bad taste in our mouth about head coach X. And then we'll probably be, if you're still not a good team, are we just waiting on Andrew Berry then? And if you're waiting on Andrew Berry, are we just stacking and throwing decks off from each other here? So that's something this organization needs to consider. So when Daryl says it's either all of them or none of them, I agree with Daryl, because I'll be holding my breath. Because if we don't think that this team is going to be a really good football team again, is next year going to be too much for the fan base, and is next year going to be too much for the ownership to go, fine, now it's time for Andrew Berry to go? Well, now we're just rearranging places. I know they don't want to make moves, and I get that. I understand there's a need and a want to be stable and known to be stable. But if now we're just moving guys around, we're just not going to get on the same page. Hell or high water, at least I want them to feel like we're on the same page.